day to everybody. I'm Mariton A. Felipe, 44 years of age. I'm married with 2 kids. I graduated with Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering and have my master's degree, Master of Arts in Teaching. 5 years from now, I will be having my doctor's degree. That was my ultimate dream, to have my doctorate degree someday. Also at that time, I will be having my own business in the Philippines, so I can support not only my family, but also my relatives as well. 5 years from now, I will start putting up a charity which will feed the needy in my own little way. To be productive at the end of the day, first, I always start my day with a prayer. You must fill your stomach to have an active mind and body. Planning is very important to me. You should be productive every hour and every single day or single minute of your life. Always think positive and be smart in everything you do. Set a good example to your colleagues and inspire them to love their work. Focus on your most enjoyable task first and work on big one next. Don't let other people affect your work. Lastly, be a blessing to others. Never get affected by negative people. Now, what can I contribute for the success of the company? First, I always make it a point to be at my best, especially in teaching, to inspire more students to become successful individuals someday. Continuous research, training, and planning on how we can improve the quality of teaching to acquire more students for the coming school year. Teaching the students to have new inventions with the modern technology, involving them in some curricular activities. In that way, the students will not only be aware of what is happening around, but will also appreciate the value of their subject in their own field of specialization. Now, what is the objective of this discussion? So the objective of this discussion is first to know the meaning of chemical equation and its composition, and second, learn how to balance a chemical equation. Now, what is a chemical equation? A chemical equation describes what happens in a chemical reaction. The equation identifies the reactants. Reactants refers to the starting materials and the products, which is the resulting substance. The formulas of the participants, the phases of the participants, the solid, liquids, and gases, and the amount of each substance. Balancing a chemical equation refers to establishing the mathematical relationship between the quantity of reactants and the products. The quantities are expressed as grams or moles. It takes practice to be able to write the balanced equations. There are essentially 3 steps to the process. First, write the unbalanced equation. Chemical formulas of reactants are listed on the left-hand side of the equation, which is this one, and the products are listed on the right side hand of the equation, this one. Okay. Putting an arrow between them to show the direction of the reaction, so this arrow. Reactions at equilibrium will have arrows facing both directions. Okay. Second, balance the equations. Apply the law of conservation of mass to get the same number of atoms of every element on each side of the equation. The tip here is to start by balancing an element that appears in only one reactant and product. Once an element is balanced, proceed to balance another and another until all elements are balanced. Balance chemical formulas by placing coefficients in front of them. Do not put subscripts because this will change the formulas. Indicate the states of the matter of the reactants and the products. So what are the different states of matter? We are using Chi for the gaseous substance, S for solids, L for liquids, and AQ for species in solution in water or aqueous solution. Write the state of matter immediately after following the formula of the substance describes. Okay, let's have this work example problem. The tin oxide is heated with hydrogen gas to form tin metal and water vapor. So write the unbalanced equation. We have the tin oxide plus hydrogen, so the product is tin and water. So refer to the table of common polyatomic ions and formulas of ionic compound if you have trouble in writing the chemical formulas of the products and reactants. Okay, balance the equations. Look at the equations and see which elements are not balanced. In this case, there are 2 oxygens of atoms on the left-hand side of the equation and only 1 on the right-hand side of the equation. Okay. So to balance this equation, so for the tin, your tin here is 1, and check, your tin here is also 1. So for the tin, it's balanced. But when you see the oxygen gas, you have 2 moles of oxygen here and only 1 here. So what are we going to do? To obtain 2 moles of oxygen, we have to multiply this by placing a coefficient of 2 here. So in this case, the oxygen here becomes 2. So the oxygen here is 2. And here, your oxygen is 2 times 1. So we have 2. So you can see that oxygen here now is balanced. Then, let's check the hydrogen. Hydrogen gas here is 2. And here, after placing here 2 times 2, so your hydrogen now here is 2 times 2. This make it, what? 4. So to make this 4, you have to put a coefficient here, 2, and 2 times 2 will also give you 4. So this make your equation balanced. Okay? Then, indicate the states of matter. So what are the states of matter? The tin oxide is a solid one. Your hydrogen gas, this is gas. Your tin here is a solid, and water is in the form of water vapor. So this one is gas. Okay. Now, let us work on these examples. So we have here silver iodide plus sodium sulfide. Each product will be silver sulfide plus the sodium iodide. So let's start with the silver here. So for the silver, how many silvers do you see here? You have 1 only, right? Okay, so let's place 1 here. And here, when you check on the product, your silver is 2. Okay, so what can you multiply to silver to make it 2? So it will be equal to your product. So multiplying this by 2 will give us what? Silver times 2 will give us 2. So your silver now on the reactant and the product is already equal. Okay, now let's take a look at sodium sulfide. For sodium sulfide, your sodium here, so after checking for the silver iodide, you have here, okay, so silver is correct. Now let's take a look at the iodine. Iodine here now becomes 2. You have 1 times 2 equals 2. Therefore, you have to put coefficient here 2 to make your sodium here 2. Or iodine here 2. So after placing the coefficient, this makes your iodine 1 times 2, which is equal to 2. So this is now, your iodine now is balanced. Then check for your sodium. Sodium here is you have 2 here, and for the other side, your sodium is 1 times 2. So you have 2. So this is also balanced. And for the sulfur, your sulfur here is 1. And your sulfur on the reactant is also 1. So this is already your balanced chemical equation. Okay? Next, let's proceed to the second example. We have the barium nitride plus water. Its product is barium hydroxide plus ammonia or NH3. So let's take a look at, let's start